So welcome back everybody. With monster hurricane air spinning off the coast of Florida right now, and the Storm Prediction Center showing two more potential storms forming right behind it, one potentially heading toward my state, I decided to get my butt in gear and do a little cleanup on my emergency preparedness system, and I wanted to share it with you. So welcome back to the closet everybody. Today we're going to have a little fun doing some electrical and some installation of accessories that I just picked up for my EcoFlow Delta Ultra power station. This is what we rely on for storms, power outages, to get us through hurricanes and other power outage events that we have definitely experienced over the last few years. So one issue that I have with this is, well, plugging my solar in. We've got a really large outdoor system that should run this, but in the event that we do not have solar power for the day, say it's cloudy or there was damage, anything such as that, I would like to be able to charge this with a generator. In the past, I have to open a window, run a cord through the house, and I just do not like that setup. All right, so just to the right of my unit, here is a little closet that I built in that has our main house panel, and I hate to even show you this, it's embarrassing. Wrapped up in here is all the cables. There's Ethernet cable that goes out to my shop. I want to do something with that. All my solar cables coming in from our main solar array outside. And here's what I'm thinking. Down here alongside all of my internet boxes and my generator inlet plug, which I plug this unit into that to power our main house. Just flip a breaker in there. I've picked up a few things to where I can put a smart generator right outside this wall right here, where I have a propane hookup to a large 500-gallon tank, and I've got a smart generator that I could literally turn on from inside the house via an app. What I'm thinking is I want a receptacle right here that I can plug this unit in. So in the event that I don't have enough solar charging this unit while it's running the house, we can top it off with a generator. I also want to clean those solar cables up, have them flush through. I finally found some adapters to do all this. I want to put a latch in this door, and since we're already in here doing all this wiring, this cable coming out, which is my Ethernet cable that runs to the shop, I want to put a nice adapter in for that. So what I picked up is this through wall, or technically through roof, MC4 solar connector. We're going to mount that probably right in through this door that I built. Then we can shorten up all that length of cable, hardwire it to the backside, and now look, I have MC4 connector cables that can go right into the side of my Delta Ultra. So all I have to do is just make me like some little 2 to 3 foot loops of 10 gauge cable that we can plug in, and then I can put those out of the way when not in use. It's going to really clean this up. Pick me up a little Ethernet adapter. We'll mount that through the wall down here using one of these old work electrical boxes. And then I'm also going to put an old work electrical box in and put a receptacle in this. We're going to hardwire it to a through wall plug on the outside. Speaking of that outdoor receptacle, here it is. Rubber coated, we can seal it in. This is made to go through wall. You can hardwire cable right into this. So here's my plan. This is going to go on the outside of the house. We're going to run the wire through to a labeled and dedicated receptacle right here. So basically we're just making a through wall extension cord. So it's worth mentioning these cables entering the house are not live, they're not hooked up. That's why we need to go ahead and get them in some proper enclosures. And I do have conduit running to the house that we need to finish out as well. So this is all tied in and sealed. Also should note, this is not a how-to video, just bringing you along for how I'm cleaning up my emergency system, and want to show you the future plans and how I'm tying this into a smart generator, again, to where I'm running off of a huge propane tank. It's all automatic if I want it to be. I can do it from inside the house, whether it's storming and raining outside, and this is just yet another way to top our system off when that solar is not sufficient. So since I'm going to go through Sheetrock, I'm using what's called an old style workbox. This has flip out tabs. If this was new work, we would be installing this and nailing it to a 2x4 before the sheetrock's even added. So we're going to have to cut through the sheetrock itself, tighten these screws. These tabs will flip out and it'll lock itself into place. Now here's a really good way to cut sheetrock if you don't have a hand sheetrock saw. I use an oscillating tool, and I always save my really old metal cutting blades that are dull. Doesn't matter. These work fantastic for cutting through sheetrock. You'd never want to use a good blade to go through sheetrock because it will dull it, but if you already have a dulled blade, this will cut through just fine. All right, so now I'm just going to figure out right where I want to put my box, making room for the faceplate to not make contact with anything. Make sure I'm clearing the stud on the inside. There's a stud right in here, a couple of them actually. Get this nice and centered up, and then just mark this out. Okay, so I've been scratching my head on how to lock this closed with all that I can grab onto behind this is sheetrock. So while it might not be the world's best looking thing, honestly, none of the wiring and boxes over here is. I did one of these boat latches right here that you'll actually turn and unlock. And there is an adjustable lever that goes on the back side that we can screw in or out. And this latch or clasp right here is what will hang on the sheetrock, locking this thing closed. So I'll just install that right there. And the cool thing is you can get these locked with a key or keyless. So being an electrical cabinet, one that locks might not be a bad idea. However, there is no exposed connections behind this door at all. All right, so now I'm gonna have to play around with the adjustment for a little while till I get it right where I want it. So as you can see, this just threads on, closing up the gap. Let's see if that'll work. You can also flip it around and flip this lever to the opposite side. All right, so here we are on the back side of the house. This is where we have a 3600 watt array, which is currently running the shop along with a 2400 watt array. But I have set this array up to where it can either feed the shop or in an emergency situation, can also feed the house. That's what you just seen me work on. We're currently not wired up to the house. So if we come around the back side right here, you can see I have a generator inlet box right here if I want to run, you know, a big 240 volt generator. It's got a really large plug in it right there, and that goes to my main panel. I don't really use this anymore because now our solar is plenty strong enough to run the house along with that Delta Pro Ultra inside. I also had the gas company hook me up a high pressure propane hookup right here, and that runs off of a 500 gallon tank. Needless to say, we have plenty of fuel. So because my little EcoFlow inverter generators can also run on propane, I want to be able to set one up right here, hook up to this, pretty much have an endless supply of propane. It would take me weeks and weeks and weeks to run that tank empty on one of these little generators, probably longer than that. But I need a 120 volt hookup right here to go to that dedicated receptacle inside so we can plug the Ultra into it. All right, so now I want to label everything in there since it can be confusing. We have outlets that don't provide power unless they're plugged into a generator. We have solar hookups, and we have internet outlet, not inlet. So I'm just going to get it all labeled up. Obviously, I know what it is, but it's a good thing to do. So check this out. We got this little Nimbot printer. I'm only bringing this up because I showed this in one episode before when I rearranged my shop and printed labels, and I had tons of requests for this. We just bought it off Amazon, but I love a little label maker like this. You just hook it up to your phone. I'll go in here and type what I want. We'll put like solar input. Kind of hard to do, and hold a camera. We'll center it up. All right, solar input looks good. Hit print. Look at that, we got a label. And we're gonna put input on this because most generator hookups are generator outlets, but we're doing something very unique today, as y'all have seen. All right, let's print that one. Oh yeah, that one come out perfect. And then lastly, we've got shop internet. And that's worth labeling because that's an output RJ45 connector, not typically an input like you would see. This would be good if we ever had somebody come and work on the internet for the house, for example. Look at that. Self-adhesive labels, ready to go. Gotta love it. All right, I'd say this is so much cleaner and better looking than what we had before. No reason to open this up ever again, unless I need to go do some through-wall service. Now I've got my solar hookups, my shop internet, and most importantly, my generator input. All right, so this is what I am super excited about. And by the way, I get questions all the time from people asking, does EcoFlow make a smart generator that works with the Delta Ultra? No, they do not. In EcoFlow, if you watch this video, I get that question from viewers all the time. I don't know if there's a way in this current model that y'all can make one of your smart generators, maybe the bigger SG4000 work with the Ultra, or in any future renditions, next models that come up, please factor that in. We love that these generators work with the Delta 3 series, and the bigger generator works with the Delta Pro 3. Full-on communication, they talk to each other, you set the parameters, walk away, and your main unit tells this to fire up, crank up, and do its thing. The Delta Pro 3 has got an edge over the Ultra for that, but I like the bigger power and all of the Ultra that's in the house. But this is as close as we can get right here. You can either take the SG3000 right here, or the SG4000, which I also have. I want to run the smaller generator because it's fuel efficient, and I can't put in more than 1800 watts on this plug anyways, so let's go with the fuel efficient unit. But the cool thing is, not only does this connect to Bluetooth, so I can turn it off and on my phone when I'm within Bluetooth range, but this also connects to Wi-Fi. So guess what? If I'm not even here and my Ultra's connected to Wi-Fi and I see that my Ultra's getting low, I'd almost have the smart compatibility that y'all are looking for. I just have to occasionally monitor. I can turn this on, charge the unit, turn it off. Doesn't matter where I'm at as long as I have internet connection. All right, so this is a dual fuel generator. Love this thing. Again, it is smart generator set up for the Delta 3 series, but it's got a plug on the front, so, you know, use it as a standard generator, a traditional one. And then we're gonna hook up to my propane right here. All right, you can see there's the hookup on the side, or it runs on gasoline up top. All right, now all we have to do is we got this plug right here. Plug in our extension cord. We're not plugged in inside, so we're good. Lift up the front. Hook up to one of these outlets here on the front of the machine, and this has electric start too. This is such a sweet little unit. It's really underrated what all this thing will do. So you can pull crank it, which is so easy to do. I can electric start it there, or, all right, we can come right in my app and I can turn this on from here. Watch this. All right, I just tried to crank. Check that out. And listen at how quiet that thing is. All right, as you can see, we're connected to the generator. It's right outside. It shows that we're on propane. It automatically swaps over. And I'm gonna turn off eco mode and put it in performance mode. It just ramped up. Y'all can't hear that because we're gonna go ahead and pull full power out of this. Now, right now I have it set to slow charging, 600 watts. So it's nice and easy on the generator, and we can flip this switch and go up to the full 1800 watts, as well as we can go in the app and adjust anywhere in between that we want this unit to charge. So if we want to be more fuel efficient or don't need as much power, we can do that. All right, so I've got my cable plugged into the generator input. About to plug it in the front of the unit. It should start charging. There we go. settling out around that 600 watts that I have set. Again, we can flip the switch and go to the full 1800. Let's do that. All right, I hear the generator ramping up. Awesome. This is working just as intended. Now imagine if we had our 3600 watts of solar hooked up. We could potentially be pulling in 5400 watts right now for some super rapid charging should we need it. And all we got to do, I've got my cables stored in here, some little 3-footers hooked right into here. Plug right in here to this side, and we're charging. All right, so hopefully y'all enjoyed this episode. Y'all, just so happens one of the main reasons I want to make this, we've got all these storms popping up on the horizon that we can clearly see, and it just so happens EcoFlow is offering a disaster preparedness month all the way through the end of September. So things like the Ultra as well as other equipment are going to be on major sales. I just checked the price of this system, one of the cheapest prices I've seen, and the good news is there's going to be links down in the description along with an additional 5% discount code. Now that discount code does not apply toward flash sales and certain accessories, but it does apply toward a lot of other items. And I did check, it works with things like the Ultra, the Delta Pro 3, or any other units that you might be looking for. This is something I've been needing to get done. I wanted that nasty wired mess cleaned up. Now it looks nice, neat, and professional. And I do want to remind y'all, just because of what you've seen me do today does not mean that it's necessarily per code or legal in your area. We all have completely different regulations and rules to follow. That's on you to determine and figure out. All right, hopefully this answered some of your questions. We'll catch you on the next one.